Morning, friends. It's your boy Mug. This is Wake Up Wyoming for January 2nd, 2017. Thank you so much for tuning in here at Wake Up News. It is an absolutely beautiful day here in Alpine, Wyoming. A little chilly, but blue skies, no chemtrails up there. Always good to see that. And yeah, loving life. Happy New Year to everybody. I took the day off yesterday, laid in bed reading a book. My New Year's resolution to take care of myself. And in order to do that, when you feel a little tickle in your throat, you feel yourself getting a little sick, it's important to pump the brakes. I laid in bed yesterday, read a great book by a buddy from college, actually. If you want to know something about the seedy underbelly of South Korea and North Korean relations from a guy, Western guy, who spent some time there teaching English. This is a great book, Foreigners by Mark Rapace. So, Mark, we got to catch up, brother, but great job on that book. As promised in the headline there, Tea Bag Wisdom. I put on a shirt that I probably should have washed weeks ago and found a bunch of these Yogi tea bag doodads in the pocket from my trip to the desert. So I'm going to read y'all some Yogi tea bag wisdom today to get the show going. Thank you all for tuning in. Really appreciate you all dropping your locations and support there in the comments. Here we go before we get into the news of the day. Yogi tea wisdom. Communicate sacredness. Build it, share it, and spread it. What's up, David? How you doing, brother? Compassion will make you beautiful. Let your manners speak for you. That's good advice, huh? Thanks, Teabag. Peace of mind comes piece by piece. Lord knows we could all use some more peace of mind in these trying times. The old saying, may you live in interesting times. Love is subject to compassion. Ain't that the truth? Easier said than done. And the last teabag wisdom for the day, live in your strength. Very good advice there from the fine folks at Yogi Tea. No, that's not a paid public product endorsement, just some teabag wisdom randomly found in my pockets. Let's get right into the news today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody with the Happy New Year is much appreciated. Let's see, what do we got for comments? What's up, Danny from Montreal? Rory Holler from Wisconsin. What's up, brother? Thanks for tuning in. Nat C. Sims chiming in. Make tea, not war. Good advice. Real good advice. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Dario Flows coming in from San Antonio. It's 30 degrees there. We got you beat. Here in Alpine, it's like 10 degrees. Chilly, chilly, chilly. But kind of fun news to start the day off. In my opinion, this world is really suffering from a lack of creativity, right? We live in a time where there's unprecedented technological advancement. There are energy technologies that have been suppressed. Hell, we even have the technology to manipulate the weather on a global scale. Unfortunately, it's being used covertly to create problems rather than solve them within this system of disaster capitalism. But, one example of this creativity at play, New Zealand revelers build sand island to defy alcohol ban. And the authorities, instead of cracking skulls, instead of showing up and shooting them like they might do here in the U.S., where we had 1,000 Americans killed by police in 2016, the local authorities admire their ingenuity. A group of New Zealand holidaymakers built a sand island in a bid to defy a local liquor ban, local media reports. The authorities turned out to be quite relaxed about it, too. It's illegal to consume alcohol on beaches or in other public places in the Coromandel area during the New Year period. In an effort to beat the booze ban, an enterprising group of friends constructed a sand island that included a wooden picnic table and a chili bin to keep their frosty beverages cold. They reportedly claimed the ban did not apply to them because they were in international waters. And they continued drinking and watched the fireworks from the comfort of their sand island. So, just fun there. Speaking of cops, Lee Camp, who's actually one of our admins here at Wake Up News, great article by him. Here at Wake Up Wyoming, we like to hold the mainstream media to task, and he's got a good example here of him doing the same thing. Brilliant guy, brilliant comedian, that Lee Camp there. Hopefully we can get him on the show someday. But we covered this on the show a couple days ago, the swatting case in Wichita, and how, Lee makes a good point here that I kind of missed. The police really the mainstream media really blamed the prank callers, the SWAT callers, for this incident. But in reality, what happened, the police showed up at this house. This guy came to the door unarmed, this guy who was a hapless victim of a prank call, and the police shot him, killed him. And a good point here from Lee is that, instead of attacking the swatters, obviously we shouldn't go, prank calling the police on somebody is not cool. But it's also not cool for police to just fire at will randomly. Read a little excerpt from Lee here, brilliant guy that he is. Police get called to scenes they don't need to be at all the time. It's not uncommon, whether it's because someone thinks their neighbor's music is too loud or because a mentally ill man is peeing in a fountain. A lot of what the police are supposed to do is show up somewhere and not shoot whoever they see. In fact, that's most of their job. But what the New York Times won't tell you about policing in America would drown a small town. In this article, the New York Times won't tell you that the police in many states receive less training than hairstylists or electricians or just about any skilled jobs. This is one of the reasons they always seem to be killing, injuring, and maiming innocent people. Another reason, which the New York Times won't tell you, is that many cops, perhaps as high as 25% in some cities, are using steroids. And the side effects of steroid abuse are exactly the traits you don't want police to have. This stunning succession of recent front-page examples of police officers who exhibit rage, aggression, and/or poor judgment, all symptoms of possible steroid abuse, in confrontations with citizens should ring alarm bells, experts say. Yet the New York Times reporter goes with the government police line that the real problem is the pranksters who call the cops. Sure, we shouldn't like pranksters calling the cops, but the real point is it shouldn't matter. If the cops are called to the wrong place, they should be rational enough to figure out, hey, there is no crime going on here. Let's not kill anybody. So there we go. People chiming in there. Thank you so much. James Betteridge, right? Police job is to investigate, not just shoot first and ask questions later. So, kudos to Lee Camp for calling out the mainstream, taking him to task. Today, this article published at Naked Capitalism, and we're taking a good look at the news links from Naked Capitalism today. Let's keep moving along. In good news, more good news, trying to focus on good news, coming out of the Times of Israel, dozens of Israeli 12th graders are defying the graft over the oppression of Palestinians. In a letter to the PM and the IDF chief, 63 Israeli teenagers urge all Israeli youth to refuse to serve in the military until occupation ends due to racist government policy in the West Bank. Dozens of 12th graders said they are refusing to be drafted into the IDF in protest over what they say is the Army's implementation of racist government policy that violates human rights. So mad props to these young Israelis who are stepping outside the norm there. Of course, all Israelis forced into service in the IDF upon graduation from high school. Their letter calls on all Israeli high schoolers to join them in refusing to be drafted until the occupation of the West Bank is ended. The letter says the Army implements a racist government policy that violates basic human rights and carries out one law for Israelis and another law for Palestinians in the same territory. Therefore, we have decided not to take part in the occupation and oppression of the Palestinian nation, which has divided human beings into two antagonistic camps. This temporary situation has now gone on for 50 long years now, and we won't contribute to it. We will refuse to serve in the Army out of a commitment to the values of peace and with the knowledge that there is another reality we can create together. We say to the rest of the country's 12th graders, will your military service really help bring about that reality? The signatories say the government is engaged in inciting Israelis against Palestinians and Israel's Arab citizens. An entire nation is living under institutionalized incitement directed against Palestinians on both sides of the Green Line. And here we are, young men and women from different parts of the country and different social backgrounds, refusing to believe the systemic incitement or participate in the government's oppressive and occupying arm. So Kudos to these fine young folks in Israel. Best of luck to y'all. Keep up the good fight. God bless you. Moving along, a little health news. No big surprise here. You know, the experts say a lot of things, but it is true. Here at Wake Up Wyoming, we encourage people to stay active. Get out there, move your bodies, go for a walk, do some yoga, go for a ski, whatever it is you like to do to stay active, keep doing it. And not only is it good for your physical health, but your mental health, spiritual health, all that too. See this old guy, if he can go for a walk with his cane, so can you. Let's all, in the new year, make a commitment to getting out there and staying active. I could read this article to you, but it's basically just common sense, right? At the same time, it's easy to forget these things. It's easy to forget how important it is to get out there, move our bodies, and enjoy life, get the blood flowing, and all that good stuff. So if you're watching this show, you know, if you feel like going for a walk right now, it's going to be on later. You know, pause it, set down the phone, just step away from the computer, go outside, breathe in that fresh air, or even that chemtrail-laden air, because why not? Moving on. We covered this a while ago. The Alzheimer's Society picked it up too. You know, it's important to note that like aluminum, barium, strontium, toxins raining down from the sky in nanoparticulate form due to the chemtrail programs definitely contributes to dementia. But on the same vein, so does urea, having too much piss in your bloodstream. What's the point here? The point is to make sure not only stay active, but drink enough water, especially that clean, filtered, or distilled water, right? Most of the water in the country, not really fit for human consumption. 70% of the water in the United States, at least, is fluoridated. So get that fluoride out of your water. What do? You know, I don't like buying bottled water, all that jazz. So I got one of these. Kind of heavy. I got one of these Berkeys, these water filters. And just to remind myself to actually use it, I put a sticker of some skulls on the side. So I'm reminded that if I don't drink enough water and if I don't filter my water, I'm poisoning myself. So, whew, that's heavy. I encourage y'all to do the same. You know, don't just stay active. Do everything you can to stay healthy. And you really don't want to go to a nursing home. You know, you really don't want to get that dementia or that early onset Alzheimer's because the Trump administration is rolling back fines on nursing home abuse. Okay? The nursing home industry, which has long been awash in claims of health violations and neglect, may soon be freed from the kinds of penalties it has paid in the past. A new Trump administration policy will roll back fines against nursing homes cited for mistreatment or abuse. The American Healthcare Association and the nursing home industry are largely in favor of the move. Of course they are, having requested the change to Medicare's penalty protocols in 2016. Story goes on and on. The Trump administration has a history of rolling back protections for patients in nursing homes. In August, reports surfaced that the administration was planning to replace a rule that makes it relatively easy for nursing home residents to sue for negligence or abuse. An investigation by the Los Angeles Times found that more than 75% of nursing homes were cited for ineffective infection control over a span of 4 years. While the citations were common, fines were not. Just one of the 75 nursing homes found to be in violation of infection control codes received a significant citation or fine. Oh, coming out of Truth Dig there. Interestingly, you know, I know for a fact, having worked in nursing homes in the past, that the vast majority of people in nursing homes are chronically dehydrated, as are the vast majority of Americans. So keep drinking water. And remember that urea contributes to Alzheimer's-like symptoms, memory loss. So drink that water. And if you got loved ones in a nursing home, probably one of the best things you can do for them is to try to get them to drink more water too. Moving along here, coming from our friend Mish there. Debt to GDP, only 4 major countries are worse off than the U.S. What are they? Well, Japan, with this is the debt compared to GDP, debt of 240% 40% of GDP. Greece, debt at about 280% of GDP. Italy, debt of 130% of GDP. And Portugal, 120% of GDP. The U.S. debt to GDP, slightly over 100%. Of course, with the new tax law, with the new tax overhaul, U.S. government debt will rise by $1 to $2 trillion over the next decade. Mish views that assessment as majorly optimistic, as it assumes no recession and unlikely growth. Of course, these countries, the PIGS, Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain, three of the pig countries, plus Japan, the only ones with a higher debt to GDP ratio than the good old USO mother effing A. Moving along, it's a great quote here from Cindy Mather chiming in. These guys, thank you so much, Deborah. We're back to the topic of food real quick. Food grade diatomaceous earth helps remove metals from your body. Yeah, you can get like 60-pound bags of that. Give it to your friends for Christmas. It's good where, I guess Christmas is over, but whatever, anytime. And Cindy Mather chiming in. We also need to filter the water you bathe in because your skin is the biggest organ and absorbs all the crud in our water supply, from lead to fluoride. Very good point there, Cindy. Probably not a good idea to take long baths or long showers for that matter when the water you're bathing in is seriously polluted. Moving along here, debt to GDP so high. One business that's booming is America's survival food king, Wiseco. Of course, they're coming out of Salt Lake City because the Mormons are all about getting ready for the apocalypse. I have to say, I don't really buy into the kind of cult-like religion of Mormonism, but they are pretty good at taking care of each other, and they are pretty good at prepping for an uncertain future. Interesting article here at Bloomberg. I'll paste it in. Pretty wild. It's about a $400 million annually industry, the freeze-dried survival food thing. And Bloomberg even covering it there on the front page there, November 27th. Delightful holiday dinner ideas for the apocalypse. How much fun is that? So, years ago, I don't know about you, but I got all my food supply stored up. I could take care of, a dozen people for a few months if there's ever a big crisis. And it's a good idea, don't go overboard. Don't spend all your money on freeze-dried food and shit. But if you don't have at least like a month or two's worth of food stored up in your house, probably a good idea to do a little of that. Don't go overboard. But, if shit ever hits the fan, if you got a couple months worth of food around, that buys you a lot of time to think and for the system to kind of reset, so to speak. Ash Street says, any news on the couch? I don't know what couch you're talking about, Ash. Give me a clarifier on that comment. Over the past several years, the prepper phenomenon, people geared for imminent disaster, has come out of the backwoods via shows like the National Geographic Channel's Doomsday Prepper and media reports of the very rich and very worried buying and fortifying luxury bunkers. Here's the CEO of that company. Looks like a normal dude. Looks a little more normal than me because it's just plain smart to be ready for an uncertain future in the world of today. In 4 years, Wise's, that's the company's annual retail sales, have more than doubled to about 75 million. Using his network of former clients, Jackson persuaded Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and even Bed Bath & Beyond to carry Wise food service or food storage products. In 2014, he also persuaded Home Shopping Network to feature the company's wares. The TV network has become its biggest distributor, but at this point, only 2% of Americans have bought into survival foods, according to industry analysis. So it goes on and on. Interesting article there. It's funny how this stuff becomes more and more mainstream. Again, don't go all in. Don't spend all your money on not that tasty food storage food, but it's a good idea to have some food storage. Even if you just go down to the store and buy yourself a whole bunch of boxes of oatmeal when it's on sale, right? Know what I'm saying? Karen J. Bowden chiming in. Stocking up is a good idea if you can afford it, but how are the poor to prepare for major emergencies when even minor emergencies totally wreck our budgets? Yeah, it's a very good point, Karen. Like I'm saying, do what you can. But don't freak out. It's probably good not to be worried about anything in the world today. And, hopefully we're all just going to be fine. Everything's just going to roll along, but I don't know. Checking out cryptocurrency. Somebody mentioned Bitcoin there. These guys are funny. James Betteridge chiming in, at least get a 20-pound bag of rice, right? You can get everybody can afford a big bag of rice, big bag of beans, some cooking oil, salt and pepper. You got it. You're set. Future Money Jay saying buy Bitcoin instead. Hopefully the cryptos keep going up and up. James Betteridge chiming in there with the contrarian argument, though. No electricity, no Bitcoin. Very good point there. Probably not a good idea to go all in. Jay Future Money is saying Bitcoin's going to be up to 100K in a year. Who is it? That guy, McAfee, the antivirus software magnate. How do you say that? Magnate? He's a boss in the world of antivirus, but he got out of that. He's saying that Bitcoin will go to $500,000 by 2020, or he will eat his own genitalia. Real true story there. Let's see if I can find that. There's a website. Eat his own dick. Pardon the French there. There it is. Lad Bible, December 14th. John McAfee will eat his dick if Bitcoin does. Oh, excuse me, 1 million. He will eat his dick if Bitcoin doesn't hit 1 million by 2020. So, putting it out. This Magura saying, so one Bitcoin's worth $500,000 within 3 years. John McAfee chiming in. If not, I will eat my dick on national television. So, I don't know. Pretty funny stuff. Strange days in the world today. But looking at cryptocurrency, it's apparently on track to hit McAfee's projected $1 million, up to $1,446.70 today. Ripple, interesting cryptocurrency, kind of owned by the banks, could be a scam. Interestingly, stealing a lot of market cap from other coins, rapidly advancing to the number 2 slot in terms of total crypto market cap at $93 billion. Price going absolutely bonkers lately. But it's important to know Ripple is designed to assist big banks in processing international money transfers. So arguably, if the whole purpose of cryptocurrency is decentralization, taking power away from the banksters, then Ripple is in fact a wolf in sheep's clothing, so to speak, or a bankster in wolf's clothing, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it. Long story short, Ripple is designed to serve the banks, not the people. Ethereum up in a big way today. Same with Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Litecoin, IOTA. Across the board, huge gains in cryptos today. I find it extremely interesting how these currencies, there'll always be at least 1 or 2 big winners every day. Something's going to go up like 50, 60%. For example, today we see right here, Tron up 63% in the last 24 hours, up 102% in the last 7 days. But the whole market swings where you'll see increases in just about everything one day, and then the next day you'll see losses in just about everything. Just pretty wild to see. I guess that's a factor of the market cap fluctuating wildly day to day. Today, the market cap $658 billion into the speculative markets of cryptocurrencies. So, do what you will with that information. This is not financial advice. Future Money Jay chiming in there too on Ripple. Yeah, the key thing with Ripple is that, it's designed to help the banks, but it's also pretty fiat in the sense that it has an unlimited number of coins or tokens or whatever you want to call it, an unlimited number of ripples that can be created out of thin air. So yeah, Ripple, interesting. Richard Park chiming in. So instead of the Treasury printing fake unsecured money, now we have Bitcoin that only exists on the internet. Watch your six, folks. Right? It's a really good point, Richard. And I'm not a dyed-in-the-wool believer in cryptocurrencies. At the same time, unless there is a total catastrophic long-term collapse of our civilization that results in all electrical systems and communication systems going offline, these cryptocurrencies, not just Bitcoin, but all of them, will be around. So it's kind of a matter of, either cryptocurrencies are going to be the future in some form. I don't know which ones. I don't know when. I don't know what the market's going to do. I can't predict the future. But is the power really going to go out forever? I don't think so. I used to think so. Years ago, I had a really pessimistic doomer gloomer attitude about civilization. But now I think that, the system is going to keep on trucking. For better or worse, I don't think that we're going to have the lights go out forever. But I don't know. Bitcoin news: ICOs raised over $1 billion in a month for the first time. Koreans deposited 64 times more fiat into crypto exchanges in 2017. Convenience stores and pawn shops are seeing foot traffic by installing Bitcoin ATMs, and on and on and on. So no shortage of news. Of course, this is coming from Bitcoin.com itself. So like all media, including this outlet, it's biased. Sydney Morning Herald reporting Bitcoin tensions rise as investors claim banks are freezing their accounts. Bitcoin investors claiming Australia's banks are freezing their accounts and transfers to cryptocurrency exchanges, with a viral tweet slamming the Big Four and an exchange platform putting a restriction on Australian deposits. I don't know what this couch thing is here. Max, someone used your link for a couch auction. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I wasn't trying to sell a couch. So I'm really confused. Everybody's talking about a couch, but I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not trying to sell a couch. But we are talking about Bitcoin tensions rise as investors claim the banks are freezing their accounts. So yeah, moving along. Yeah, if somebody can give me more info on this couch situation, that'd be great. But I don't know. It doesn't seem that important to me, and I wasn't selling a couch. The criminal underworld is dropping Bitcoin for another currency. Which one? Monero, the privacy coins. Privacy coins such as Monero, designed to avoid tracking, have climbed faster over the past 2 months as law enforcers adopt software tools to monitor people using Bitcoin. A slew of analytic firms such as Chainalysis are getting better at flagging digital hoards linked to crime or money laundering, alerting exchanges and preventing conversion into traditional cash. The European Union's law enforcement agency, Europol, raised alarms 3 months ago, writing in a report that other cryptocurrencies such as Monero, Ethereum, and Zcash are gaining population within the digital underground. Online extortionists who use ransomware to lock victims' computers until they fork over a payment have begun demanding those currencies instead. On December 18th, hackers attacked up to 190,000 WordPress sites per hour to get them to produce Monero, according to security company WordFans. So, if anybody wants, it's funny how much comments is in here on this couch. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. No clue. But yeah, I'm not selling a couch. If somebody's trolling on me, they're doing a pretty good job because I don't know. Moving along here, more news coming out of the Telegraph. The Bank of England plots its own Bitcoin-style digital currency. Of course, the blockchain technology is here to stay unless we have a catastrophic failure of the power and communications grids, which I find unlikely because it turns out the system wants to keep perpetuating itself. For better or worse, we're along for the ride. The Bank of England could greenlight its own Bitcoin-style digital currency as early as 2018, the Telegraph can disclose. A research unit set up by the bank is investigating the possible introduction of a cryptocurrency linked to sterling, silver, interestingly. If approved, a virtual currency issued by the bank would pave the way for a revolutionary shakeup of high street banking. A Bank of England issued digital currency would potentially allow British citizens to keep their money in digital form, with the central bank itself dispensing with the need for a retail bank, cutting out the middleman. Interesting. Big ticket transactions such as buying a house could happen in nanoseconds. So there we go. Randy Giacomo says, "You're a good sport." Thanks, Randy. I appreciate that. Moving along. Speaking of cryptocurrencies launched by large institutions, Venezuela is launching an oil-backed petro cryptocurrency within days. This has been in the news for a while there, but it's pretty interesting. Venezuela experiencing hyperinflation lately due to low oil prices and currency controls, all sorts of manipulation by Western superpowers of this rather feisty, oil-rich South American nation. What are they going to do? They're getting ready to launch within days its own cryptocurrency, El Petro, which will be backed by more than 5.3 billion barrels of oil and support $267 billion worth of financial instruments, Venezuela's communications minister Jorge Rodriguez said on Thursday. Earlier this month, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro shocked both analysts who follow the country's flirting with default and the cryptocurrency community by announcing that Venezuela wanted to launch the Petro cryptocurrency backed by oil, diamonds, and gold reserves to help the country to advance in issues of monetary sovereignty, to make financial transactions, and overcome the financial blockade. So there you go. Future Money Jay, you know it. Moving along. I could tell you some stories, but I'm not gonna. Let's see. Iran. Moving on to Iran. Iran cuts off internet amidst mass protests, calls for an armed uprising. Interesting here. This has been going on for the last week now, and Interestingly, in the midst of these protests, which seem to have started off very small, a jihadist group linked to Al-Qaeda, which is actually a branch of the CIA, blew up an oil pipeline in Iran. You see some pictures of that blowing up right now. Funny how this jihadist group writes in English. What do I got here? But in this case, the timing of the bombing comes at an interesting moment as multiple major Iranian cities are now in the third day of rare anti-government protests, widely reported to be fueled primarily by economic grievances, but which notably have included aggressive anti-Rouhani chants and slogans calling for the end of clerical rule, and could get more violent. Ansal al-Furqan specifically cited the desire to attack Iran's economy is carrying out the oil pipeline attack. Meanwhile, late in the day Friday, the U.S. State Department issued a formal condemnation of the Iranian government, calling the regime a rogue state whose chief exports are violence, bloodshed, and chaos, while announcing support for protesters. As we noted, statements now coming from U.S. officials fit a familiar script which seems to roll out when anyone protests in a country considered an enemy of the U.S. No matter the motivations and grievances of the demonstrators, whether economic and local or otherwise. Everybody's here for the couch. This is good. I guess I should start selling couches on the show. Who knew? Anybody who wants a couch, PM me. Let's get into that. Speaking of, it is kind of fun to get trolled. I don't mind. The U.S. State Department hints at Iran overthrow. Are we witnessing the early stages of regime change? The U.S. State Department, as we mentioned there, has issued a formal condemnation of the Iranian government following 2 days of economic protest centers on a handful of cities, calling the regime a rogue state whose chief exports are violence, bloodshed, and chaos. That's kind of funny because I'm pretty sure Iran hasn't attacked anybody for a very long time. Although, if I can recall correctly, there's one country that is waging war all over the world, blowing people up with drones and shit, and that is the United States of America. Okay? So these protests kind of seem like a staged event. There's a really great analysis here that I'm going to copy and paste in. Came out a couple days ago from the Moon of Alabama. The Moon of Alabama. Always on point. Where barflies get together. Not the most interesting tagline there, but there it is. Peter Coote chiming in there too. Who threw Libya into the mess it is in? Right, that was Uncle Sam too. Our old friend Gaddafi was trying to create a paradise there for his people, and what happened? Yeah. Pretty funny. Moving along here. Yesterday and today, I saw some small protests in Iran. They are probably the first stage of a large regime change operation run by the U.S. and Israel with the help of Iranian terrorist group. Earlier this month, the White House and the Zionists prepared for a new assault on Iran. Okay, let's quote there. Another report about the meeting quotes Israeli officials on the result. Our understandings deal with the overall strategy, but also with concrete goals, way of action, and the means which need to be used to obtain those goals. The ongoing protests are probably the result of the above meeting. It goes on and on. Really good read here. Long story short, this whole situation stinks. The White House and the Netanyahu regime agreed on a strategy towards Iran. Major members of the Trump administration are in favor of regime change by pro-democracy forces in Iran. A few weeks after an agreement was found, coordinated economic protests start in Iran, which are soon hijacked by small groups of very active regime changers. A group of Iranian exile terrorists, well known for deadly collaboration with Israeli spies, as well as for having operation cells in Iran, is highly engaged in the protest from very early on. If this is the regime change operation, I presume, the protests will soon get bigger. When the people need money, a few $1,000s are enough to create a large crowd. Small groups will riot while hiding within the larger protests of maybe genuinely concerned people. The Western media will engage in their usual pseudo-liberal humanism and concern trolling, right? The Western media doesn't give a shit about the Iranian people. Hate to say it, but it's true. But as soon as there's some sort of unrest, it's all about, oh, we got to save the Iranian babies. Never mind that Western superpowers have been taking shits all over Iran for decades. When the police in Iran try to arrest those rioters who are raising havoc, the media will scream brutality. Some martyr will be created and iconified. Rumors of censorship and suppression will be raised. Fake news will come from everywhere, and hundreds of sock puppet Twitter and Facebook accounts will suddenly be Iranian and breathlessly report from the scene of their Langley offices, or they will randomly show up bitching about a couch for sale. For the Iranian politicians, the police, the issue is tricky. Economic protests are clearly justified, with even Khamenei voicing support for the issue. That's right, the president of Iran wants the support of his people. He wants to solve the problem. But rioting in the streets must be suppressed before it further escalates and becomes uncontrollable. Weapons on the protesters' side, firing in all directions, may soon become a problem. The Mossad and MEK are not shy of killing random people. But the Islamic Republic of Iran has genuine support in large parts of the society. There are big civil organizations that support the government, not on every issue, but in its general framework. Most Iranians are proud nationalists and will be difficult to divide. If this is indeed the regime change attempt, I predict it will fail. Right? Speaking of failed regime change, let's do this one first. The U.S. quietly ceded part of Syria to Russia last week, and nobody is talking about it. Published today by Dariush Shahtamazsebi. Over there, our friends at the Anti-Media. This is, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. Gedney's accusation, this is British Army Major General Felix Gedney saying, we are seeing the movement of limited numbers of ISIS militants westward. They seem to be moving with impunity through regime-held territory, showing that the regime is either unwilling or unable to defeat ISIS within their borders. Gedney's accusation is surprising considering it recently emerged that the U.S. intentionally allowed safe passage for thousands of ISIS fighters leaving Raqqa unscathed. His accusation also runs contrary to the reality that the Syrian regime is the most heavily engaged entity fighting in Syria. That being said, Gedney's accusations detract from the real development and has gone largely unnoticed. The U.S.-led coalition has announced that it has no intention to operate in areas that are currently held by the regime. As the Military Times notes, this decision came as Russia announced its plans to enter into a long-term agreement with Syria for a permanent military presence. The agreement will entail that Russia will expand its naval base to Tartus, with Russian land and air forces remaining at the Hayamim Air Base. The decision also comes on the heels of Russia's call for U.S. forces to sell couches with impunity or leave the country completely. Approximately a week ago, Russian President Vladimir Putin's envoy to Syria, Alexander Lavrentiev, said there was no longer a reason for the U.S. to maintain a military presence in Syria, and that Washington's reasons for staying on the couch were baseless. So there you go. It goes on and on. Perhaps this is why attention is being diverted from Syria towards Iran, another longtime American adversary instead. Boom. And Russia accusing the U.S. of training former ISIS fighters to destabilize Syria at the Tanf base. No big surprise there, considering that the United States funded, trained, and has supported ISIS since the very beginning. The situation in Syria, a proxy war where ISIS was used to justify going in there and killing a bunch of Syrians, attempting to overthrow their government. Of course, it has failed, and Russia has stepped in with the support of the Syrian people, with the support of Syrian President, democratically elected Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, to shut down all this bullshit. So it goes on and on there. This is a real creepy video. I'm just showing this one. We covered this a few months ago at the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, though. As much death as you want. UC Berkeley's Stuart Russell on slaughter bots. Not many films advocating arms control will get hundreds of thousands of hits on YouTube. It's actually up to like 2.7 million now. If you haven't seen this video yet, I'm going to paste it into the comments here. It's a little disturbing, but it's important to know. 2.2 million views of this video. Worth watching. Worth watching. With the slaughter bots, the notion of autonomous drones used to kill people. You know, drone technology, robotics, artificial intelligence being used to use those tiny little, those cute little drones being used to kill people. So it is what it is. But yeah, check that one out if you want. And on that note, Patreon. Big thanks to my Patreon subs there. If anybody wants to support my work, go ahead over there to Patreon. Unfortunately, I don't have a couch for sale. Otherwise, I would sell that thing in a jiffy to help fund the independent media. So, yeah, it is. You know, hop on there, show me some love. Much appreciated. And lots of comments here. It's good. I think we're getting off of the couch thing. Who are these people? It's funny how we've got so many randos in the house today. All you randos, thanks for tuning in to Wake Up Wyoming. I don't know why you guys are so lazy and you're so concerned about buying a couch. I don't even own a couch because I got better things to do than sit on the couch with a bunch of trolls. But let's get into the scopes today. I read the local paper, really a lot of fluff. Of course, they picked up on the fluff about the Iranian, or not the fluff, the propaganda about the Iranian revolution that's being fomented. I think Iran is going to successfully fight through the propaganda there coming out of the West. Again, because the U.S. is losing the war in Syria, they're trying to take the front over to Iran. Baltimore breaks their per capita homicide record. Wow, for what it's worth. Chicago ended 2017 with fewer homicides than the year before. Classic fear porn there. There's the coverage of Iran. It's probably going to get a lot bigger. We'll have no shortage of commentary. So yeah, really nothing to report out of the local news today. Let's get into the scopes since everybody's here ready to rock. Let's JacquelineBegar.com. Thank you all for tuning in. Much appreciated. Trolls included. Stick around. You're not going to get a couch out of me, but you might learn something. I think my first person looking for a scope was Jerry. I can't find your comment there in the midst of all the trolliness. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to read them all today. Thank you all the regular viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's kind of fun how the trolls have showed up in force. I'm going to read all the scopes because with all these crazy comments from all these random sock puppet accounts, we're having a hard time reading all the comments from the legitimate human beings that actually care about more than buying a couch or talking mad shit on the internet for no purpose other than to hear their own voices and detract, deter, distract, and divide legitimate communities having legitimate conversations about legitimate issues. So let's get right into it. Aries, 4-star day. In your mind, you could be wondering if today and yesterday are representative of the rest of 2018. Some of you might feel as if you have been shot out of a cannon. Uproar at home keeps your focus on the domestic scene. You'll desire some peace and quiet. Tonight, try to settle in. Taurus, that's me, the bull in the china shop. No couches to shell, but I do have a 5-star day with me. You observe more than others seem to realize. In fact, you don't miss much because of your keen perceptions. Aw, thanks, Jacqueline Begar. You typically are non-judgmental. However, that might not be the case right now. A loved one comes forward with good news. Tonight, celebrate the night away. I will. Gemini, 4-star day. You might be forced to deal with your finances. Opportunities break through the haze of wondering what to do. You'll want to check out a risk carefully. You don't want to feel as if you are walking the plank. Be sure you can handle any snafus. Tonight, run some errands. Cancer, 4-star day. You will want to open up to someone else, but this person might seem somewhat distant at the moment. Know when to take a detour and avoid a collision of wills. Your creativity surges and allows many more options to appear than you previously had envisioned. Tonight, fun and games. Leo, 3-star day. You have a lot on your mind, but will choose not to share it just yet. Your fiery energy allows you to get up off the couch with greater flexibility than usual. You seem unusually resourceful, but might need some time relaxing on the couch in meditation to think through a decision carefully. Tonight, the unexpected occurs. Virgo, 5-star day. Just when you thought that most of the holiday energy had dissipated, you find out otherwise. Your words do count. You feel liberated once you get off the couch and clear the air with a loved one. You might not have anticipated the reaction you get. Tonight, where the crowds can be found. Libra, 3-star day. Hang in there. Tension builds to unprecedented levels. You might feel as if you are finally in control. Remember this feeling, as at any given moment, a surprise could throw your plans into chaos. Learn to work with the unexpected, as it seems to frequent your life. Tonight, Libras, out and about. Jaylene Berger, what's up? Welcome to the internet's #1 couch clearing resource on the planet, apparently. Scorpio, here you go, Jerry Wallace, all you other Scorps, 4-star day. Your intensity has not lessened, but your good humor seems more present than usual. You greet good luck as people flock towards you. Allow yourself to follow through on a dream, as it can be accomplished far more easily than you had imagined. All you gotta do is get up off the couch. Tonight, you have reason to smile. Sagittarius, 4-star day. You could be in the mood to retreat from the holiday atmosphere and add some calmness to your day. This sounds like a great idea, but making it happen could be nearly impossible. Be prepared to handle a major disruption. Tonight, make time for a close friend or loved one. Capricorn, 4-star day. Defer to others for the moment. Perhaps they need some time in the limelight. A group of friends might be more beneficial to you than you are aware. Your perspective could be changing without you even realizing it. A family member is likely to be reactive. Tonight, close to home. Aquarius, 3-star day. Hang in there. Pace yourself and get down to basics. You can only do so much. Fatigue marks your day and your plans. You have a lot of ground to cover and many people to see. You could experience an adrenaline rush because of an unexpected event. Tonight, kick back and relax. Pisces, 5-star day. Your creativity surges, and you seem to be able to bypass many problems that arise. You will find unusual solutions. News from someone whose expertise you respect will put a smile on your face. Recognize that you are unstoppable. Tonight, be extra careful with your money. And there you go, folks. There's your scopes for the day. I tell you what, all this troll activity has got me feeling like I'm doing something right with my life. So I'm going to go in here and see what exactly is going on. Anybody that doesn't want to enjoy the couch posse, I don't know. Let's see who these people are. Te Awaro Peekwa. Again, anybody that doesn't want to sit here and let me have fun with the trolls, go away. But it's funny. You know, it's funny. It is funny. Is every time a troll comments on this video about something nonsensical and off topic, somewhere within the weird little, granted, rigged algorithms of Facebook, more people are exposed to this. In fact, maybe some of these trolls might actually learn something. Oh, I love you all too. Thank you, Glenn Rocky Tail, Nathan Riordan. Thank you so much. Deborah Lowe Forrester, I so appreciate your live news sharing. Deborah, I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Apologies for all the off-topic chatter in the comments today. I don't know. Christopher Robin Umstead saying, I'll give you $25 for the couch. Christopher, if I had a couch for sale, you look like a pretty good guy. I think I'd probably sell it to you. Hans Schellenberg says validation is key, right? Nothing validates me more than having the trolls show up. You know, I haven't had a case of trolls since Standing Rock. It's kind of funny. Maybe the fact that I'm talking about the situation in Iran, just as it gets going, just as the propaganda machine of the mainstream media is going through the roof, maybe that attracted the trolls because they don't want the American public or the public all over the world to be aware of the bullshit regime change nonsense that has been going on for decades, right? Let's see, reading comments. Again, if anybody tuned in for the show today and wants to go ahead, get outside, be active, stay awake, stay aware, stay optimistic, because why not? And enjoy your life, work within your sphere of influence to make things better, and get off the couch. By all means, get off the couch. Like I said, I don't even own a couch, but if I did, I would gladly sell it to these trolls. It's funny, within the mind of the troll, apparently, well, here, I'll bring it up. There's a really interesting article. Let me get a new window going here. We got to find troops, trolls, and troublemakers. Within the world, there are these strange organizations that legitimately exist to screw up, like, legitimate dialogue between humans on the internet. And even Oxford University talks about them in a recent article called Troops, Trolls, and Troublemakers, a global inventory of organized social media manipulation. And I have to say, I feel bad for these trolls because their entire existence is based around not just talking shit on the internet, but actually collecting money to go on the internet and ruin dialogue. It's funny. It's like they're getting paid, like 50 cents a comment or something by some shadowy forces within the shadow government in order to screw up dialogue. And it's sad. It's really, I feel bad for them. Yeah. Daniel Riker chiming in, mental media mutants, right? Hey, trolls, here's an idea. If you guys had just, instead of pretending like you know it all on the internet, if you had just invested in cryptocurrencies a couple months ago, taking your troll money and invested in cryptocurrencies a couple months ago, you wouldn't have to sit in front of your computer with your dick in your hand in between sessions over there at the Pornhub, making a living off of screwing up legitimate dialogue on the internet. Guys like Danny Mudd. Hello, I'm here for the couch. Hello, Danny. I don't have a couch for sale, but I sure appreciate you tuning in and adding comments here. That makes my video even more popular. James Leahy chiming in, poor troll psychology. Look, dude, people shit in my mouth, so I talk shit, and it makes me a happy boy. James, that's a great way to get sick. I really encourage you to not let people shit in your mouth. In fact, one of my New Year's resolutions was to not let people take advantage of me anymore. And I don't really understand what you guys are doing here. Let's see, what else do we got? You trolls are slacking too. You guys aren't even fun. Sean Malnikas chiming in, boobs and vagine. I'm a fan too, Sean. Big fan. Peter Knut asking, any news about Flint? Stop trolling on the couch. Let's see. Let's check out Flint. Seems like a legitimate question. Flint water crisis. Well, the Flint water crisis, they're being poisoned there. I don't know what's really going on in Flint. Let's see. There's a drive-by shooting, product of horrible bullshit. Court hearings are set to resume surrounding the Flint water crisis. 1,342 days into the water crisis, the city is accused of violating terms of agreement to replace lead pipes, right? Sad. It's really sad that we can't, the government is willing to pay an army of trolls, an army of internet losers, to disrupt legitimate dialogue, citizens actually talking with one another, trying to make sense of this crazy world. And at the same time, we can't even get clean water out of our taps. So, yeah. Venus Yusuf says, I don't have a profile picture. Can I still bid? Yeah, you can bid on the couch, girl. You're beautiful, by the way, but you shouldn't hide behind those fake big eyes and those dog ears and everything. Yeah. Let's see. Danny Mudd chiming in, this lesbian seems depressed. Wow. Anyway, I guess I'm signing off. Hopefully we don't have a we don't have a case of trolls when we go live again tomorrow. But if we do, it is what it is. Y'all have a lovely day, including you internet trolls, even if you're not real, even if you're just like computer algorithms of artificial intelligence coming out of some quantum computer somewhere. I hope you have a great day too. And for all you real humans out there, for all you real people who are actually trying to make the world a better place, trying to stay informed, trying to, take care of yourselves and the ones you love, keep it up. I'm your boy Mug here in beautiful Alpine, Wyoming. Much love for all of you, including the trolls. Signing off. One love. Peace.